Morning dawn in the city of Sealight. Chapter 1. Tan Ying stepped on the ferry back to the island. The sea breeze brought salty and humid breaths, and she looked at the outline of the island gradually emerging in the distance. Her heart was mixed. At the age of 29, her career was blocked, and her relationship was also stagnant. She thought of the high-rise buildings, tense meetings, and unpredictable interpersonal entanglements in the city, and suddenly felt like an abandoned boat, lost its way in the wind and waves. When the ferry docks, take a deep breath and step on the familiar beach. She took off her coat and changed into a light bikini, facing the sea breeze as if she wanted to leave all her worries behind. The moment she stepped ashore, she saw a figure, a boy sitting on the reef, looking so handsome that it didn't look like fireworks in the world, like a phantom rising from the sea. He was slender and straight, and his eyes were clear and bright, as if he could see through her mind. Tan Ying calmly raised his chin, his tone with a hint of playfulness. "Aren't you going to class today?" The boy slowly raised his head, his eyes were pure and flawless. He smiled faintly, and said, "School is out today." She felt a hint of surprise and inexplicable relief, thinking to herself that this island seemed to be not only the island of her childhood, but also a new starting point for her soul. Chapter 2. Tan Ying decided to go to the beach where Yehei Sunlight Swimming was swimming first, and she paced along the beach, feeling the coolness of the waves crashing against her ankles. The boy was still sitting on the reef, as if he had already expected her arrival, with a faint smile in his eyes. She couldn't help but take a few more looks, wondering in her heart, who is this kid? How can there be such a temperament that does not eat fireworks in the world? The boy saw her doubts and raised his hand, as if in greeting and provocatively, "Do you want to try the water temperature of this sea?" Tan Ying did not hesitate, took off his slippers with a smile, and stepped into the sea water. The water was cold and piercing, but it had a sober feeling, as if washing away all the depression and fatigue. She looked up and looked at the boy, her eyes flickering. "Are you just sitting still like this all day?" The boy smiled slightly, as if foreshadowing some kind of adventure. Maybe someone will join my class." Tan Ying's heart moved, and this familiar and unfamiliar island began to fluctuate bizarrely because of this boy. Chapter 3. Early the next morning, Tan Ying got up early and decided to explore the new hotel in the town. She walked in the alleys. The streets still carried the dampness of the night, and the occasional sea breeze rolled up the sand grains. The town is more bustling than she remembers, but some corners still retain childhood memories, food stalls, fish markets, and the stone bridge she once ran on. The hotel's celebration banquet is lively, with bright lights and crowds. As soon as she stepped into the hall, she saw the boy standing in the corner, holding a drink in his hand, his expression calm and leisurely, as if he was in a world of light and shadow outside this noisy scene. Tan Ying's heart moved, and he couldn't help but walk over, with a smile on his lips. "Why, are you here to participate in the celebration today?" The boy nodded lightly, a hint of playfulness flashing in his eyes. "Some people say that success is worth celebrating, isn't it?" Tan Ying's heart warmed up, and he suddenly felt that his life might usher in a bizarre new chapter from this moment. Chapter 4. At the celebration banquet, Tan Ying met Qing Lan, a young manager of the hotel, a man with deep eyes and quick movements. Qing Lan showed unexpected politeness and curiosity about Tan Ying's appearance, and he said, "I didn't expect that you still chose to participate in the hotel's celebration on this island revisit." Tan Ying replied with a smile, "You always have to look at the outside world, and maybe you can find new inspiration." The boy came over from the corner, his eyes as pure as water, and smiled. "The world is big, but some people will always encounter the same waves." Tan Ying was stunned for a moment, feeling that this sentence had some kind of indescribable magic. At this moment, a strong light suddenly flashed outside the glass floor-to-ceiling window of the hotel, like thunder reflected on the sea surface, and like an abnormal symbol, which made the entire banquet suddenly quiet. Tan Ying thought to herself that this island seemed to be not only her childhood memories, but also hidden unknown dangers and adventures. Chapter 5. On the beach at night, Tan Ying met the boy again, and he was still sitting on the reef, as if waiting for the entire sunset. The sea breeze blows gently, and the tide crashes against the reef, making a deep and long sound. Tan Ying put on her beach jacket, walked up to him, and said softly, "Do you come here every day?" Will you be alone? The boy smiled faintly, his eyes clear. No, because someone will always come. Tan Ying's heart moved, and he suddenly felt that this sense of calm and strangeness could touch his heart more than the hustle and bustle of the city. She sat down by the reef, secretly vowing in her heart that she would find herself on this island, and perhaps uncover the boy's secrets. Chapter 6. The next morning, Tan Ying jogged along the beach. The sea breeze rolled up his wet hair, and the sand under his feet glowed golden in the morning light. The boy was still sitting on the reef, like a phantom that had been waiting for many years, his eyes as clear as lake water. Tan Ying walked over and raised his eyebrows. Do you watch the waves and watch the sea like this every day? The boy smiled slightly and replied, the waves are different every day, how can you know if you don't see them? Tan Ying smiled secretly in his heart, like a metaphor for life, every day is different, and every stay is worth observing. She suddenly realized that this beach was not just a natural sight, but more like a kind of guide pointing to her future choices. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 7. Following up on the hotel celebration banquet, Tan Ying was invited by Kinglan to attend a private party. At the party, we met many hotel executives and people from the local chamber of commerce, who talked about business, tourism, and island legends, and the atmosphere was warm and strange. The boy suddenly appeared in the corner, his eyes indifferent but impossible to ignore, as if he could see through her thoughts. Tan Ying thought secretly in his heart, why did he appear here? Isn't he an ordinary teenager? The boy smiled and said softly, there are some things that ordinary people can't understand, but you will see them slowly. Her heart was shaken, and she felt like she was being pulled into a bizarre adventure, and the island was just the entrance. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 8. On an island night, Tan Ying accidentally broke into an ancient building wrapped in vines. It was full of dust and broken window lattices, but it emitted a faint light, like starlight reflecting into the darkness. The boy suddenly appeared and stood aside, his voice soft. This place used to be a temple of knowledge and secrets. Tan Ying walked into the building, her feet on the wooden floor made a low echo. She saw strange symbols engraved on the wall, like an ancient language, but with light and shadow flowing. She was secretly alert and curious, what is hidden in this building? The boy smiled, did not speak, only stretched out his hand to signal her to approach the symbol, and the rune instantly lit up, reflecting a scene she had never seen in her previous life. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 9. The next morning, Tan Ying saw a strange city in his dream, with high-rise buildings as transparent as crystal and colorful lights and shadows flashing on the streets. After waking up, she found that she was holding a small ball of light in her hand, slightly hot. The boy sat on the edge of the bed with calm eyes. You dreamed of a fragment of the future, maybe a warning, maybe a guide. Tan Ying's heart moved slightly, she understood that this boy was not an ordinary person, and the ball of light in his hand seemed to hide some kind of power. She gently clenched the ball of light and secretly made up her mind, this trip to the island is not just a rest, but a dialogue with fate. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 10. The hotel celebration banquet was held again, and Tan Ying was arranged in a room with a sea view, with the boundless sea and the waves reflected by the morning light outside the window. The boy suddenly appeared, stood by the window, his eyes penetrated the morning mist, and said, you will see the end of the sea, and you will also see your own undetected courage. Tan Ying's heart trembled slightly, this sentence was like a omen. She walked to the window, overlooking the sea, and suddenly found a whirlpool of light and shadow floating on the sea, as if calling her. She felt a hint of excitement, and a faint sense of nervousness. This island was far more mysterious than she had imagined, and the bizarre adventure had just begun. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 11. Tan Ying decided to explore the coast, and she walked along the rocky path towards the whirlpool, feeling the saltiness and chill mixed in the sea breeze. The boy followed silently behind, his eyes clear, as if he could sense every trace of hesitation in her heart. Walking to the edge of the whirlpool, Tan Ying saw a miniature sea city emerging under the water, like a crystal carving, with a mysterious light shining in the waves. She exclaimed in her heart, this is not an ordinary underwater scene, what seems to be here? Secret. The boy nodded, this sea city will be the starting point of your future choices, and it may also bring challenges. Tan Ying clenched his fists and his eyes were firm. I am not afraid of challenges, this time, I want to control my own destiny. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 12. In the underwater light and shadow city, Tan Ying accidentally touched a rune stone, and the rune instantly shone, reflecting fragments of her past life and future. She saw that she had been lost in the city, and also saw the possible successes and failures in the future, with light and shadow floating in the water like a movie. The boy squatted down and said softly, every choice will be reflected in this city of Sealight, whether you can bear it is your test. Tan Ying secretly made up his mind in his heart, no matter what happened in the previous life, this time, I want to decide my own life. The ball of light glowed slightly, as if in response to her determination, and golden ripples began to appear in Haiguang City, as if welcoming a new owner. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 13. Back on the shore, Tan Ying felt a lot of physical exertion, but the boy still looked calm, sitting on the reef and looking into the distance. She couldn't help but ask, who are you? Why do you always know what I think? The boy smiled faintly, there are people guarding, there are people guiding, and there are people waiting. But I just accompany you to see the sea. Tan Ying's heart throbbed slightly, feeling that this sentence had some kind of magic, as if unraveling a corner of the mystery in her heart. She sat by the reef, looking at the sea in the morning light, feeling an unprecedented calm and anticipation. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 14. At the hotel's celebration banquet, Tan Ying was invited to speak on stage to share her thoughts on the island's culture and marine protection. She spoke eloquently, with perseverance and light in her eyes, which made the eyes of the guests in the audience focus unconsciously. The boy stood in the corner, his eyes soft, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised, as if secretly acknowledging her growth. Tan Ying smiled secretly in his heart, he was no longer the anxious 29-year-old woman in the city, but a person who could control the stage and life. After the banquet, the boy said to her gently, this is just the first step, the real challenge is still in the city of Sealight. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 15. As night fell, Tan Ying walked to the beach alone, the waves crashing against the reef, emitting a low rhythm. She recalled her experiences in the past few days, from the wild sea sunlight swimming to the ancient ruined buildings, from the whirlpool of light and shadow to the celebration banquet stage, every step was like a dialogue with fate. The boy walked up to her and said in a calm tone, you have already taken the first step, there are more unknowns waiting in the future. Tan Ying took a deep breath and his eyes were firm, I'm ready, no longer flinching, no longer confused. The night wind curled up her hair, and under the reflection of the sea light, her figure overlapped with the boy on the reef, like a picture intertwined with light and shadow, heralding bizarre adventures in the future. Chapter 16. The morning light shines on the sea, golden ripples flicker, and Tan Ying walks along the reef path towards the town in the center of the island. The town was more prosperous than she remembered, with vendors shouting, seabirds circling, and the streets exuding the aroma of salty and grilled fish. She felt that there was a story hidden in every corner of this place, as if waiting for her to uncover. The boy followed silently, his eyes clear, as pure as the reflection of light on the sea. Tan Ying couldn't help but ask, are you really following me like this every day? The boy smiled, some people say that companionship is the quietest force. Tan Ying's heart warmed, and she suddenly felt that this island was not only a memory, but also the starting point of her new life. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 17. In the town, Tan Ying met a mysterious old man wearing a wide-brimmed straw hat with eyes as deep as the night sky. The old man handed her a yellowed map, his voice low, this map will take you to the core of the Sealight city, but not everyone can go the whole way. Tan Ying's heart was shocked, she looked at the boy nodded faintly, with encouragement in his eyes. She felt her heart beat faster, holding the map in her hand as if she were holding a key to unlock the unknown world. The boy reminded her, the city of Haiguang is not just a geographical existence, it is also a test of courage and wisdom in your heart. Tan Ying nodded slightly, determined to embark on this unknown journey. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 18. Tan Ying followed the instructions on the map and entered a deep jungle. The shadows of the trees are intertwined, the light is dappled, and the air is filled with dampness and unknown. The boy stood aside, his eyes like a torch, as if he could see the danger ahead through the leaves. Suddenly, a low roar came from the depths of the jungle, like the breath of an ancient creature. Tan Ying clenched his fists and took a deep breath. No matter what lies ahead, I have to face it. The boy smiled softly and stretched out his hand, light and shadow emerging from his palm, illuminating the jungle and revealing the hidden safe path. Chapter 19. In the jungle, Tan Ying found ancient ruins, and the stone tablets were engraved with mysterious symbols, shining with shimmering light. She touched the stone tablet, and the light and shadow instantly appeared in the air, reflecting fragments of past lives and future like crystals. The boy stood quietly beside him, his voice low. Every choice will be mapped on the runes, and your courage will determine the direction of light and shadow. Tan Ying's heart moved slightly, and for the first time she understood that the secret of the city of Haiguang was not just geography, but a test of wisdom and courage in her heart. The swirl of light and shadow slowly swirled, as if inviting her to enter the next stage of her adventure. Chapter 20. As night falls, Tan Ying and the boy rest under an ancient tree, and the sea breeze brings salty and humid smells. Tan Ying asked softly, "Who are you? Why do you always know what I think?" The boy smiled faintly. Some answers are not in words, but in actions and feelings. Tan Ying's heart throbbed slightly. She felt that this boy was not just a companion, but more like a guide, leading her to the unknown city of Haiguang. On the distant sea, the whirlpool of light and shadow flickered, and her heartbeat coincided with the rhythm of the waves, as if fate was calling. Chapter 21. Tan Ying entered the core area of the city of Sealight and found that the city was made up of crystal buildings, and the streets shone with colorful lights and shadows. There seemed to be no ordinary people in the city, but there are runes and light traps hidden in every corner. The boy pointed ahead and said, "Every path here is a choice, and you must move forward with wisdom and courage." Tan Ying smiled, her heart full of challenge and excitement. She stepped on the street of light and shadow with caution and courage in every step. For the first time, she felt that her life was magnified, and every choice could determine the future direction. Chapter 22. In the city of Sealight, she encountered a huge maze of light and shadow, with walls made of flowing light and shadow, changing rapidly. Tan Ying frowned and thought about how to move forward. The boy stood at the entrance of the maze, his palm flashing with a glimmer. Every path can be a trial or a trap. Tan Ying took a deep breath and began to analyze the flow of light and shadow, step by step. In the maze, light and shadow flickered and darkened, as if testing her wisdom and patience. She felt nervous and excited like never before. This was not just an adventure, but also a spiritual training. Chapter 23. In the depths of the maze, a light and shadow suddenly collapsed, and a huge light and shadow creature appeared. The creature's body flowed, like water waves in clouds, with a flash of light in its eyes, looking straight at Tan Ying. Tan Ying's heart was shocked, but she did not flinch. She took a deep breath and used the light and shadow runes to channel the energy and deal with the creature. The boy observed from the sidelines and nodded slightly. He knew that for the first time, Tan Ying had truly demonstrated his ability to control light and shadow. The light and shadow creatures gradually subsided, turning into a path of light, guiding Tan Ying to the exit of the maze. Tan Ying secretly swore in his heart, "The city of Sealight, I will explore to the end and not let go of any secrets." Chapter 24. At the exit of the maze, Tan Ying stands on the tallest tower in the city, overlooking the entire city of Sealight. The crystal buildings shimmer with light and shadow, and the streets are filled with colorful energy, as if the entire city is coming to life. The boy stood beside her, his voice low, "You have begun to control the light and shadow here, and next, it will be the moment that will test your courage the most." Tan Ying clenched his fists and his eyes were firm. no matter what lies ahead, I have to face it. In the distance, the swirling of light and shadow flickered, as if heralding unknown challenges and symbolizing infinite possibilities. Chapter 25. At night, Tan Ying stopped at the light and shadow square in the center of the city. In the center of the square, a huge ball of light and shadow emerges, reflecting her past, present and future like a crystal ball. The boy stood beside her and whispered, "The city of light and shadow is not just an external sight, it is a projection of your inner wisdom and courage." Tan Ying's heart was shocked, and for the first time, he understood that all these adventures were not only exploring the island, but also exploring himself. She took a deep breath, her eyes were like torches, and she secretly told herself, no matter how big the storm is, she will become the master of her own destiny. Chapter 26. In the early morning, the city of Sealight was shrouded in soft golden light, and Tan Ying stood on the tower, overlooking the shimmering light and shadow of the entire crystal building. She thought secretly in her heart, every street and every wave of light in the city of light and shadow seems to tell unfinished stories from the past life and hint at future challenges. The boy walked up to her, his tone calm but with a hint of mystery. "Today, you will really face the guardian of light and shadow city for the first time." Tan Ying frowned. "Guardian? Is there any real danger in the city?" The boy smiled faintly, his eyes were deep. "The test of the city of light and shadow is never just the environment, but the courage and wisdom in your heart." She felt a hint of nervousness and excitement like never before. The sea breeze curled up her hair, and light and shadow flickered between the crystal buildings, as if calling her to take the next step. Chapter 27. The light and shadow square in the center of the city suddenly flickered, and a huge light and shadow creature emerged, like a giant composed of crystals and light waves. Tan Ying took a deep breath, and the ball of light in her hand flickered, as if synchronized with her heartbeat. The boy stood aside and said indifferently, "It will test your wisdom, and if you can pass, the secrets of the city will be revealed to you." The giants of light and shadow let out a low roar, and the crystal buildings around them reflected strange light, turning the square into a labyrinthine space. Tan Ying's step-by-step approach uses the energy of the ball of light and the rules of light and shadow flow to gradually approach the core of the giant. Every time the ball of light intertwines with light and shadow, it is like a test for her, testing her patience, wisdom, and courage. Chapter 28. The giant of light and shadow suddenly split and turned into dozens of illusions of light and shadow flowing, each like the fear and confusion she had faced. Tan Ying's heart trembled slightly, but she did not flinch. She turned her inner fear and courage into energy and focused on the ball of light. The boy's gaze was like a torch, quietly watching her every step, as if silently guarding and evaluating her growth. Tan Ying felt that these illusions were not real enemies, but a reflection of the city of Sealight in her heart. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and silently muttered in her heart, "I will control the fear of the past life, in this life." The illusion of light and shadow gradually turned into a golden path of light, guiding her towards the core of the giant, and the trial gradually turned into a prelude to victory. Chapter 29. In the core of light and shadow, Tan Ying saw a huge crystal ball, reflecting fragments of her past and possible future. She reached out to touch the crystal ball, and the light and shadow of the entire square instantly rotated, forming a bridge of light to unknown realms. The boy's voice sounded in his ears, "This bridge leads to your final choice. Every step will determine the future." Tan Ying clenched her fists and secretly told herself, no matter what lies ahead, she must take this step bravely. The sea breeze rolled up ripples of light and shadow, reflecting on her face, gold and blue intertwined, like a bizarre dream. Chapter 30. The Bridge of Light extends to the deepest part of the City of Light, where a crystal palace stands in the middle of the sea, surrounded by light waves. Tan Ying stepped into the palace and found that it was full of strange runes, and the walls and ceiling were flashing with irregular light spots, like a galaxy flowing. The boy was beside her, his tone calm. "This is the heart of Light and Shadow City, every rune contains power." Tan Ying reached out and touched the rune, and the light waves surged out instantly, reflecting her deep determination and fear. She felt an unprecedented force flowing through her body, as turbulent as a wave, yet warm and steady. Chapter 31. Deep in the palace, Tan Ying suddenly saw the unfinished memories of her previous life reappear. She was running around the city, getting lost, and every opportunity she missed flashed in the crystal. Her eyes were firm, turning these fragments into light and shadow, injecting the ball of light into her hand. The boy nodded slightly. The past cannot be changed, but you can control the present and the future. The light and shadow gradually formed a huge door, and ancient runes appeared on the door, as if testing whether she truly understood the rules of the city of light and shadow. Tan Ying took a deep breath, stretched out his hand to push open the door, and golden light poured in, and the entire palace seemed to come to life. Chapter 32. Behind the door was a Sealight forest. The trees were made of light and shadow, and the branches and leaves flashed with golden and blue light dots, like a starry sky. Tan Ying stepped into the forest. Every step brought out ripples of light and shadow, as if he was in dialogue with the city. The boy followed her in a calm tone. This forest will reveal your heart, and courage and wisdom will determine your path. She secretly thought in her heart that this forest was not only a landscape, but also a continuation of the trial. Every time the light waves touched her, it seemed to challenge her decision and belief. She felt that she was one with the light and shadow, and her heart was no longer hesitant, but extremely firm. Chapter 33. In the depths of the forest of light and shadow, Tan Ying encountered a group of crystal elves. Their bodies were crystal clear, and their eyes were pure but majestic. The elves surrounded her with light waves, their tone like a song. Only those who truly control the power of light and shadow can pass through the forest. Tan Ying's heart moved slightly. She understood that this was one of the final tests. She used the light ball in her hand to fuse the light and shadow energy with her own determination, interacting with the light waves of the elves. The light of the forest changed as it formed, forming a golden avenue that led her to the forest exit. The boy said softly, "You have learned to dance with light and shadow, the real challenge is about to begin." Chapter 34. At the exit of the forest, there is a blue sea, with small islands of light and shadow floating on the sea. Each island represents a choice in her heart. Tan Ying's heart was shocked. She understood that every step she took would determine her fate. The boy stood on the shore with soft eyes. Courage is as important as wisdom, and if you choose the wrong step, you can get lost. Tan Ying took a deep breath and stepped on the first island of light and shadow, the water waves flickering under her feet, as if testing her determination. With every step, she felt the light and shadow resonate with her heart, as if every grain of seawater was reminding her, true power comes from the heart. Chapter 35. The islands of light and shadow gradually connect into a bridge of light, eventually leading to the throne of light and shadow at the highest point of the city of light. Tan Ying stepped on the bridge deck, and the sea breeze rolled up light waves, and the ripples were reflected in her eyes, like a river of stars rolling. The boy was at the end of the bridge, his tone low but with a smile. "In the end, you will decide the fate of Light and Shadow City, and also decide your future." Tan Ying held the ball of light tightly, feeling unprecedented strength and sobriety, and secretly vowed in her heart, no matter how unknown and dangerous lies ahead, she will use courage and wisdom to control her own destiny and protect this city of Sealight. Chapter 36. At the end of the Bridge of Light, Tan Ying stepped into the throne room of the highest tower in the city of Sealight, and the entire space was filled with golden light and shadow, like a galaxy reflected in the crystal. The boy stood beside her, his eyes deep. "You are about to face the final trial of the city of light and shadow, the mirror of the heart." Tan Ying stared ahead, only to see a huge crystal mirror standing in the air, the mirror surface fluctuating, reflecting her image. But it was not only her appearance, but also the deepest fears, regrets and unfinished dreams in her heart. She raised her hand, her fingertips touched the mirror, and light and shadow poured in instantly, surrounding her whole body. In her heart, she saw her 29-year-old city life, the days when her career was blocked and wandering alone, and then she regained her courage and wisdom on the island. The boy's voice whispered in her ear, "Only by facing up to the shadows of your past can you grasp the true power of the city of light and shadow." Tan Ying took a deep breath and silently thought in his heart, "I will no longer run away, I will bear it, and I will also master it. The mirror fluctuations intensified, light and shadow poured out like water, she felt like she was walking through a river of light, every breath synchronized with the pulse of the city. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 37. The light and shadow of the mirror of the heart gradually stabilized, and Tan Ying felt that all the fear and confusion in his heart were turned into energy by the light and shadow, merging into the ball of light. She stretched out her hand, and the ball of light lit up with a dazzling light, reflecting the entire city of Sealight. The whole city seemed to come to life, the crystal buildings shimmered with light waves, and the light and shadow flowing in the streets seemed to rise and fall with her heartbeat. The boy smiled, "You have mastered the city of light and shadow, but the real trial is not over yet." Tan Ying looked up and saw 3 huge light and shadow symbols appearing in the air, like symbols of ancient guardians. She was alert and knew that what she would face next was not only a test of physical space, but also a challenge to her mind, courage, and wisdom. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 38. 3 light and shadow symbols suddenly descended around her, transforming into 3 crystal guardians. Each guardian has different characteristics, one is as turbulent as the waves, another is as swift as a shooting star, and the other is as deep as the night sky. The guardians' eyes were challenging, and their tones were low. Only by understanding the balance between light and shadow in the heart can we pass the final trial. Tan Ying felt her chest throb. She knew that this was not a simple battle, but a struggle between the mind and wisdom. She uses the energy of the ball of light to merge light and shadow with her inner courage, and embarks on a trial of intertwined light and shadow with the guardians. Every flash, every wave of light and shadow collides, seems to reflect the determination and wisdom in her heart, and every choice she makes determines the direction of light and shadow flow. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 39. The trial lasted for several hours, and Tan Ying gradually discovered that the guardian of light and shadow was not an enemy, but a mirror reflection of the unfaced part of her heart. The wave-like guardian symbolizes her fear of failure, the meteor-like guardian symbolizes her uncertainty about the future, and the night sky-like guardian symbolizes her untouched wisdom and courage. Tan Ying closed his eyes, faced all fear and confusion, and silently muttered in his heart, "I admit the past and believe in the future, I will control my own destiny." The balls of light erupted with dazzling light, and the guardians turned into light and shadow one by one and merged into her body, and the entire city shone with unprecedented brilliance due to her control. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 40. At the end of the trial, the city of Sealight fully revealed its true appearance. Tan Ying stood on the throne of light and shadow, overlooking the entire city. The flow of light and shadow on the streets was like the rhythm of life, and the crystal buildings reflected light waves, like the whole city smiling at her. The boy walked up to her and said in a gentle tone, "You have become the guardian of the city of light and shadow and your own master." Tan Ying felt a warmth in her heart. She understood that she was no longer the 29-year-old woman whose career was blocked, confused and helpless, but a strong person who controlled her destiny, understood light and shadow, and spiritual power. She clenched the ball of light, feeling unprecedented strength and confidence, and the light and shadow of the Sealight city seemed to respond to her wishes, shining across the night sky. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 41. The city of light and shadow returns to calm, and Tan Ying begins to explore the daily life and secrets of the city, discovering that every corner has strange laws of light and shadow and crystal architecture. The boy was beside her, still mysterious but warm. "You can use the power of light and shadow here for protection or creation." Tan Ying smiled, remembering his original intention of returning to the island, not only to find courage, but also to find a new direction in life. She stepped onto a path of light and shadow, encountering light and shadow elves, streamer pools, and phantom gardens along the way. Every step was full of fun and unknowns. She felt that the city was not only an adventure scene, but also a training ground for the soul, teaching her wisdom, courage, and the power of decision-making. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 42. One day, Tan Ying was by the Light Wave Lake in the center of Light Cinema City and saw a fragment of his future reflected on the sea: career success, a fulfilling life, and a peace of mind. The boy stood by the lake and said in a low voice, "The city of light and shadow not only tests you, but also indicates the future you choose." Tan Ying's heart moved slightly, understanding that the real power does not lie in light and shadow, but in whether she can continue to control her life and choices. She reached out and stroked the surface of the lake, and the light waves fluctuated like crystals, as if responding to her determination. In the night, she felt more at ease and confidence than ever before. No matter how bizarre the future may be, she is ready to face it. Chapter 43. As daily life in the city gradually resumes, Tan Ying builds his own schedule in the city and explores new uses of light and shadow energy. She works with the boy to organize the light and shadow runes, study the energy flow of crystal buildings, and even try to integrate the power of light and shadow into the island's natural environment. The boy smiled. "You are integrating the power of the city of light and shadow into reality and life." Tan Ying was secretly happy in her heart. She felt that she was no longer just an explorer, but a creator, able to bring the wisdom and power of light and shadow to every corner of the island. At night, she stood alone on the tower, overlooking the entire city with light and shadow flowing like a river, reflecting her inner firmness and freedom. Chapter 44. One night, an abnormal light appeared over the light and shadow city, and a strange wave swept across the city, like an ancient energy revival. Tan Ying felt his chest throb, the ball of light in his hand kept flashing, the boy was beside him, his brows frowned slightly. This is a warning from light and shadow city, and it may also be a new challenge. Tan Ying secretly made up his mind in his heart, whether it is the past or the unknown, I will protect this city and myself. The light waves surged like a tide, and she felt herself merging with the city and becoming a true part of the city of light and shadows. Chapter 45. After the light and shadow warning, Tan Ying and the boy explore the edge of the city and discover an unknown area sealed by light and shadow. The light and shadow in the area are intricate, flickering like a river of stars, and every step is like traveling through unknown time and space. Tan Ying clenched the ball of light and silently thought in his heart, the unknown is not scary, what is really scary is not daring to face it. The boy nodded, this is the final trial, and it is also one of the secrets of light and shadow city. Every brave person will face it here. Tan Ying stepped into the light and shadow area, feeling that time and space seemed to be stretched, and every breath was full of unknown possibilities. Chapter 46. In the light and shadow area, she meets herself in the embodiment of light and shadow, and the images of the past and the possibilities of the future appear at the same time. The image smiled at her, as if reminding, the true power does not lie in light and shadow, but in the determination in your heart. Tan Ying took a deep breath and placed the ball of light on his chest, and the light and shadow instantly merged, merging himself and the image into one. The boy stood quietly aside with a smile in his eyes. You finally fully understand the core of the city of light and shadow, courage, wisdom, and self-control. Tan Ying felt more fulfilled and confident than ever, and she knew she was ready to face any unknown challenge. Chapter 47. The light and shadow areas dissipated, and the brilliance of the whole city became more dazzling. Tan Ying stood on the tower, overlooking the entire city of light and shadow, feeling unprecedented peace in his heart. The boy walked up to her and said in a soft tone, "You are no longer just the guardian of light and shadow city, but also your own master." Tan Ying smiled, secretly grateful for this bizarre adventure. She understood that every trial and every choice made her more complete. In the night, the city of light and shadow shone like a galaxy, reflecting her determined eyes and free heart. Chapter 48. As the days gradually calmed down, Tan Ying applied the power of light and shadow to island construction and marine protection. She watched the tides on the beach with the boys, blending the energy of light and shadow into the water, making the water clearer and the corals shining brighter. The townspeople were amazed by the spectacle of light and shadow and praised her wisdom and courage. Tan Ying smiled secretly in her heart. She understood that the city of light and shadow is not only a city, but also an attitude towards life, brave, wise, kind, and bizarre. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 49. One day, Tan Ying encountered a light and shadow boat floating on the sea at the edge of the light and shadow city, and there was a faint flow of future light waves in the boat. The boy walked up to her. This is a gift from light and shadow city to you, symbolizing your infinite possibilities in the future. Tan Ying stretched out his hand to hold the light and shadow boat, feeling the rhythm of the whole city synchronizing with his soul. She secretly told herself in her heart, no matter how bizarre the future is, she will use courage, wisdom, and love to control her own destiny. In the night sky, the light and shadow boat slowly drifted towards the sea, symbolizing that her journey had just begun, and that the light and shadow city would always accompany her. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 50. The city of Sealight ushered in the morning light, and the whole city shone with golden light. Tan Ying stood on the top of the tower, overlooking the city and the sea, feeling unprecedented freedom and satisfaction in his heart. The boy said softly, your journey has just begun, but you have learned to control yourself and guard this world of light and shadow. Tan Ying smiled and silently thought in his heart, I will always protect the city of light and shadow, and I will also use its wisdom and power to illuminate my future. The sea light, the galaxy, the light and shadow are intertwined, and her figure stretches in the light waves, shining like crystal. The story ends in the morning light, but her adventures and growth will continue like waves. Extra Chapter 1, The Morning Light of the Light and Shadow Cafe. In the early morning, Tan Ying opened a small cafe in a corner of Light and Shadow City. The store is made of light and shadow crystals, and the tables and chairs refract colorful light waves in the morning light. The boy sat by the window with light and shadow coffee, watching her busy with calm eyes. The name of your cafe is so special, Light and Shadow Morning Language. The boy said softly. Tan Ying smiled, holding the light and shadow cup in his hand. Light and shadow exist not only in the city, but also in every moment of life. The light waves outside the window flickered with the morning breeze, and every cup in the light and shadow cafe reflected the smiles of the townspeople. Tan Ying watched the guests admire the light and shadow coffee in amazement, and she smiled secretly. It turns out that protecting the city can also start from the subtleties of life. Underscore 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 un. Extra Chapter 2, Night Banquet in the Forest of Light and Shadow. At night, a grand night banquet is held in the light and shadow forest, with soft light waves emitted from the trees and a faint fragrance of light and shadow flowers floating in the air. Tan Ying and the boy sat at the central crystal table, surrounded by crystal elves and light and shadow creatures, creating a warm and strange atmosphere. The elves use light waves to create a variety of delicacies, from glitter juices to crystal desserts, each with the magic of light and shadow. Tan Ying took the first bite of dessert in surprise, feeling the energy flowing into his heart, surging like waves. The boy said softly, the night banquet in the forest of light and shadow is a reward for the brave and a reminder of the beauty in life. Tan Ying was moved in her heart. She understood that Light and Shadow City is not only an adventure and trial, but also a world full of fun and warmth. Underscore 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 un. Extra Chapter 3, The Challenge of the Island of Light and Shadow. One day, the residents of Light and Shadow City held a Light and Shadow Island challenge, where participants had to shuttle between light and shadow ripples to collect floating light crystals. Tan Ying teamed up with the boy to participate, and the two had a tacit understanding, accurately controlling the flow of light and shadow at every step. During the game, a maze of light waves suddenly appeared on the island of light and shadow, and the path changed rapidly. Tan Ying flexibly used the energy of the ball of light to lead the boy to break through the light and shadow trap, and the two gradually moved towards victory. Finally, the light crystals rained down and illuminated the entire island. Tan Ying smiled and said, adventure can also be a game, and every moment in the city of light and shadow is worth remembering. The boy nodded slightly, his eyes flashing with appreciation and warmth. Underscore 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 un. Extra Chapter 4, The Dawn Festival of the City of Sealight. Once a year, the City of Light hosts the Dawn Festival, where the city is wrapped in golden light waves, and residents celebrate the birth of light and shadow with light and shadow creatures. Tan Ying and the boy stood on the tower, overlooking the entire city, and the crystal buildings shone with colorful light in the morning light. Light and shadow dancers jump between the streets, light waves intertwined with the music, forming a symphony of light and shadow. Tan Ying reached out and touched the light waves in the air, feeling the joy and energy flow of the city and its residents. The boy said softly, "This is the miracle of the city of light and shadow, and it is also the result of your protection and creation." Tan Ying smiled, feeling infinite warmth and strength in her heart. No matter what the future holds, she will continue to protect this world of light and shadow with courage, wisdom, and love.